One of the things I've really been trying to get a lot of people to at least pay more attention to is the Red Wall Tories. And you may think, well, why should I pay so much attention to this particular group of Tories, when there's all this stuff going on with Boris Johnson? But with all this stuff going on with Boris Johnson at the moment, now more than ever, is a perfect time to really start paying attention to these guys. Because I've been saying for, well, quite a while now, these group of Red Wall Tories are incredibly, incredibly desperate to make sure they get a second term. They do not want to be one-term MPs. Now, they are in a very interesting position themselves because they all owe their positions to Boris Johnson. They were all elected, of course, in 2019. So they are still very, very still almost fresh out of the box in terms of sort of MP status. And while many people may feel that they are or should at least be the most loyal to Johnson, we have seen the Northern Red Wall Tories be his most harshest critics, but also the people not very keen to defend him either. They have kept their distance because this has been their strategy since day one. Oh, yes, we might be Tories, but we're not those type of Tories, pointing down south at Jacob Rees-Mogg, etc., etc. So, we're the quote good type of Tories that you want to vote in, guys, up here. Again, trying to play to their their constituencies because they want to be, at least have a second term. This is why the Wakefield by-election is very important. The upcoming local elections are also very important because if they get the sense that Johnson is going to be an albatross around their neck, trying to talk to their constituents and to try and convince them to vote for the Tories next time in the next general election, they do not want that albatross. And they will try and get rid. And this is why it's very important where we go through this article today, where you have a senior Tory peer that is warning of a red wall rebellion. You must take note of what could potentially happen here. And of course, the implications, of course, this does bring up. Of course, today, yet more shenanigans of trying to delay yet again of let's wait for the Sue Gray report. Let's wait for the full Metropolitan, police investigation. I say to the Tories, you've already had enough, or should have had enough, of Boris Johnson by this point. One fine was already too many. The Partygate Part 1 was already too many things. And that's not to mention, of course, all the other scandals and U-turns that Boris Johnson has been involved. If you've seen the 1,000 Days of Boris Johnson, and it lists all the scandals and stuff that he's been sort of involved with. So let's get into this because this does make for some very interesting reading. And of course, if this does happen, this could be, how Boris gets out of this one could be very, very interesting. So, as always, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, dear me, thank you very much to all those people who do help support the channel that way. There we go. So, this comes from politics.co.uk with the title of Senior Tory Peer Warns the PM that he could face a red wall rebellion. Former Conservative MP and current peer Lord Granger has warned of a potential rebellion among Red Wall MPs against Boris Johnson if the May the 5th local elections go poorly for the party. And already we have seen the potential worry of them losing over 800 local council seats. That is a lot to lose. A lot. And I've said before, there should be a campaign, organized by the left to, give Johnson the boot, or give him an even bigger bloody nose to organize people for voting in their local elections. There hasn't even been one. There hasn't even been one to get people to register to vote, which is, again, I discussed this just last week on, or not last week, yesterday on our Wednesday live stream. Lord Granger, who served as the government's Solicitor General from 2010 to 2012, told the BBC Radio 4's Today programme this morning that one has to separate out the tedious legal questions from the politics of this. It looks bad. It looks terrible for those of us looking into it from the outside. But if you're a member of Parliament, the first thing very often concerns is one of, is my seat safe, and will my seat be kept safe by having that particular leader at the particular time in charge of my particular party? Well, you're going to find out on the 5th of May at the local elections, and we will see what the real world thinks about what has been going on here. He argued that it may well be that there is a major voter backlash, but added that if there were, quote, he suspects that people will change their mind, particularly people with, quote, narrowed majorities, particularly people in the red wall seats, and of course, people within the seats that are very vulnerable to Liberal Democrats. I suspect that they will become less confident about the viability of this particular Prime Minister remaining in post. However, he admitted lots of members of Parliament have yet to make up their mind about how they're going to react to this continuing saga. Lord Granger, who said that he supported the resignation of the Justice Minister, Lord David Wolfson, said that he quit last week, saying that he had no option but to leave the government over repeated rule breaking and breach of the criminal law in Downing Street. I think certainly that David Wolfson was right to resign. The reasons he gave for it are quite clear, and I think he found it quite not possible to remain in this particular government in those circumstances, he explained. I applaud him for doing that, but you can't have a Prime Minister who is in charge of the government, who has been found to have broken the law and who has been fined for breaking the law, continuing in office. But it is worse because it would appear that over the course of the last 18 months or so, he has not been entirely candid with the House of Commons. Garnett, again, formerly worked with a lawyer for the Guardian newspaper, and of course is seen as the liberal wing of the Conservatives. So that is very, very interesting. And the key comment, and the key comment to go over back of this is what is said here. If you are a member of Parliament, the first thing that very often concerns one is my seat safe? And will my seat be kept safe by having this particular leader at the particular time in charge of my political party? That is what currently MPs are toting up, especially the ones in the red wall. And make no mistake, it's not a question of if the May elections go bad, it's how bad will they be? Because the May elections are going to be bad for the Tories. It's just a question of how bad. And if it's really bad, as being predicted, like an 800 seat loss for local elections, that will be causing ripples. Put it this way, if Johnson hasn't resigned by the 6th, then the Red Wall Tories, or at least these Red Wall Tory MPs, will rebel. And it will be a very, very messy rebellion because they will take no prisoners and they will want Johnson gone because they want to keep their seat safe, because they will know, and almost certainly as he said here in that quote, I don't think my seat will be safe with that particular Prime Minister in that position at that time. So, as always, something certainly to keep an eye on, as of course the May elections do draw ever closer now. 2 weeks to go now, I think it is at this point. But yes, interesting times certainly ahead. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.